All right, we've heard about the anniversary of the Dobbs decision, but there was another anniversary of note that is kind of slipping under the radar. Yesterday marked the 52-year anniversary of Title IX. That was way back when President Nixon signed the act into law in 1972. And I am confident, absolutely confident, that he at that time never could have anticipated a day when a future sitting president would use that act, Title IX, to push for biological males to compete in girls and women's sports. He could have never imagined that act where men would today demand access to women's spaces. In response to the Biden administration's radical rewrite of Title IX rules, the Our Bodies, Our Sports organization has launched recently the Take Back Title IX Summer 2024 bus tour. It's going all across America. It features former Olympians, NCAA athletes, their high school athletes, coaches, prominent women's advocates. It's all, by the way, also, of course, coinciding with this week's National Women's Sports Week. But that tour is going to be rolling into Washington, D.C. tomorrow. And joining me now with an update is Paula Scanlan. She's a former University of Pennsylvania swimmer, where she was, in fact, a teammate of Leah Thomas. And she's now the Independent Women's Forum ambassador and doing an incredible job there. But Paula, welcome to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right. Well, we're excited about this tour. Give us an update. How's it been so far?
It's been good. We visited a lot of cities, just raising awareness. We've had great turnouts and a lot of our events already happening. I mean, our bus was also vandalized in North Carolina at the end of last week. So that was definitely a little bit shocking. But not surprising because the other side is relentless, but we fight harder and stronger. So it didn't stop us. It didn't make us change our ways at all. But really the purpose of this tour is to raise awareness to what's happening with Title IX in this country. The Biden administration has recently tried to rewrite it where they now want sex to be equivalent to gender identity. Meaning any man who identifies as a woman can take away a woman's athletic or academic scholarship, can be housed in a female-only dorm, can use women's bathrooms and locker rooms. Just any woman should care about this issue. And this is not just colleges. This is all federally funded education institutions. So this could happen to your children in elementary school and middle school if those schools take federal funding.
Well, you just hit on a lot of it, what I wanted to ask you, but I'd like for you to go in a little bit more on a personal level, why this issue is so important to you. I mean, you were right there, teammates with Leah Thomas, but how did you rise to the level of involvement that you currently are? How did this become such an issue for you?
Absolutely. I mean, when I was on the team, I experienced exactly what, I've shared it publicly now for over a year now, but the university told us that our feelings didn't matter. They said that if we objected to undressing with Leah Thomas in the locker room, that we needed psychological services. And by the way, this was not something they made us do once or twice. They made us undress in the locker room with a 6'4" tall man 18 times every single week we were on that team. And again, they continually told us if we objected to it, we were the problem, we were hateful, we were bigoted. They told us we were on the wrong side of history. They said we'd never be able to find a job. I mean, it was really just every tactic to emotionally manipulate us into being silent. And I struggled with it for a long time. I spoke anonymously. I was anonymously in the What is a Woman documentary. That black blob was me. But really my turning point was, and you'll see this athlete speaking tomorrow in DC, her name's Peyton McNabb. She was a high school volleyball player, and she was knocked unconscious by a volleyball that was spiked by a male who identified as a girl on the opposing team, spiked the ball into her head, knocked her unconscious. She's partially paralyzed in her face, can't play sports in college now. And I saw that, and I said to myself, if I continue to stay quiet while people like Peyton are being permanently injured for life, I am part of the problem. And it was really at that point I knew I had to speak up about it because I needed people to know what I went through, and I needed other people to also speak up against having men and women's sports. Because ultimately what I experienced, yes, it was emotionally damaging, but no one was physically harmed. And now we're seeing girls being physically harmed. And that was really where my turning point was.
Wow. What a powerful, powerful story. Well, you'll be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow with the rally. What can people expect?
Yes, we're going to have a great lineup of a lot of speakers. Martina Navratilova, big name that'll be there. I will be there. Riley Gaines will be there. A lot of other athletes that are either former collegiate athletes or former Olympians. It's going to be a great lineup, and I recommend everyone go. DC is also a great place to have this because, again, it's the Biden administration that's really pushing for the destruction of women's sports and the destruction of safety for women. So it's very important that we do this in DC.
All right, real quickly, I couldn't agree any more with you. But where can people go, viewers and listeners, where can they go for more information about this tour? You're going all over the country. How can they follow it and join?
Yes, ourbodiesoursports.com is where you'll get information about our event at the Bullpen tomorrow night in Washington, D.C., but also a few other stops at the end of the week as well.
Thank you so much, Paula Scanlan, Independent Women's Forum ambassador and a great hero, a warrior. Thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thank you for having me.